straight line graphs. In today's lesson, we will be looking at how to plot straight line graphs. Okay, so straight line graphs are normally in the form of y equals mx plus c, okay, where m stands for the gradient and c stands for the y-intercept. And by that, I mean where it crosses the y-axis. So you will see in questions or assessments, things like y equals x plus 2, y equals x minus 4, y equals 2x, y equals 4x plus 5, y equals minus 2x plus 7, and they're all in the form of y equals mx plus c. Okay, obviously the plus c here would be plus 0, but it's a bit pointless writing that, so we leave it as y equals just 2x. Okay, so if you've got an equation that says y equals something x plus a number, that would be a straight line graph. If you had something like y equals x squared, or with an x squared in it, that would be a quadratic graph, so you wouldn't get a straight line graph. Or if you had something with y equals x cubed, that would be a cubic graph. Again, it would not be a straight line graph. Okay, so anything of this format would be a straight line graph. Let's have a look at plotting some graphs then. I have got an axis here already drawn, and we are just going to plot a few simple graphs first. The first one we're going to look at is y equals x plus 3. Okay, y equals x plus 3. So you need to draw yourself a table first, x and y. Okay, I'm going to put negative and positive values in here. Just so it makes the life a bit easy and we haven't missed anything. You could just do positive, it's up to you. I'm just going to start off with minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, and to only need a few values of x, okay? So I've gone from around here to here, okay? So to work out y, I've got to do x add 3. I've got to add 3 onto my x's. Well, if I add 3 to minus 2, I end up with 1. If I add 3 to minus 1, I end up with 2. If I add 3 here, add 3, I get 4, add 3, I get 5. Something that might be quite useful for you to do is to write the coordinates down. So remember, x goes first and y goes afterwards. So my coordinate would be minus 2, 1 that I've got to plot, then minus 1, 2, then 0, 3, then 1, 4, and then 2, 5. Okay, so let's plot these. I've got minus 2, 1. So the coordinate, that's the x number, that's the y number. So x first, that's minus 2, 1. And then I've got minus 1, 2, 0, 3, 1, 4, and 2, 5. Okay, then you get your ruler and then you join the line up. Okay, now don't just join this little bit up here with the dots in. The idea is that you extend the line because these few points help you plot basically all of the line. Okay, so never just leave it with them little dots that you've just done, and then label the line y equals x plus 3. Okay, nice and simple and nice and straightforward. Let's do another one that's simple and straightforward. This time, let's do y equals x plus 5. Again, very simple and straightforward like the previous question. So x and y, again, I'm going to do the same, negatives, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, and 2. Right, if I want to work out y, I have to add 5 onto my x's. So minus 2 add 5 is 3. Minus 1 add 5 is 4. 0 add 5 is 5. 1 add 5 is 6. 2 add 5 is 7. Again, might be useful for you to write down the coordinates. So x first, minus 2, 3, minus 1, 4, 0, 5, 1, 6, and 2, 7. Okay, so I've got -2, 3, -1, 4. I've got 0, 5. Then I've got 1, 6. And I've got 2, 7. And again, all I do is get my ruler. Okay. Like that. And I write y equals x plus 5. Okay. Let's have a look at another example then. Let's have a look at one with a negative gradient. So far we've just got x plus 5 and then we did x plus 3. What happens if the x is negative? So let's do y equals minus x plus 2. Okay, so again, x and y. You could do negatives here, or you could just leave it as positives. If you have a negative x, the easiest way is just to do the positives. I mean, I'll show you the negatives as well in a minute if you want to do so. I'm just going to write x is 0, 1, 2, 3. Right. To work out my y, I've got to do minus x plus 2. So minus 0, add 2. Well, minus 0 is just 0. So 2. Next one's minus 1, because x is replaced with 1. Minus 1 add 2 is 1. The next one, minus 2 add 2, 0. And then minus 3 add 2 is minus 1. Okay, then write in the coordinates 0, 2, 1, 1, 2, 0, and 3, minus 1. Okay, then again, plot these on your graph. So 0, 2, 1, 1, 2, 0, and 3, minus 1. Again, remember to extend the line. Okay, the ruler's this way this time. Okay, and then again, label your line. Okay, and what you can see is if I zoom out a little bit, the two differences between these two graphs, that was a positive gradient because it was a positive number of x. This is a negative gradient because the number in front of the x is a negative, which is -1. And you could see if it's positive, your graph's going upwards, but if it's negative, your graph's going downwards. Okay, let's have a look at another example. Okay, y, let's do 2x plus 1 equals y. Okay, first of all, we're used to seeing our equation in the form of y equals. This is just written in a different way, so you could just turn it around, switch it over, y equals 2x plus 1. So that could also happen in the exam where the y is on the other side. All you do is switch it over. Okay, so let's do that again, x and y. Okay, let's write this x out again. It looks like an A. Okay, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, this time to get y, I've got to double my x and add 1. Well, double -2 is -4, add 1 is -3. Double -1 is -2, -2 add 1 is -1. Double 0 is 0, add 1 is 1. Double 1 is 2, add 1 is 3. Double 2 is 4, add 1 is 5. And you can see here that the difference between the numbers is 2, isn't it? And look what the gradient is. The gradient is 2. So sometimes what people do is they don't actually substitute to work out the next few numbers. Once you know, obviously you can spot the gradient by looking at it. The gradient is normally the difference between each of the numbers. Okay. So for example, if I was to do the next one, I'm just going to do 5 add 2, which is 7. Okay. The next one will be 4 and 7 add 2 would be 9. Okay. So you can just work it out that way as well. Okay. So let's write down the coordinates first. I would have -2, 3, -1, -1, 0, 1, 1, 3. I'm just going to end up with 2, 5. I can do 3, 7, and 4, 9, but I'll just leave it. Okay, plot your coordinates in the graph, -2 and 3. -1, -1, is it? Okay. Oh, we have a problem here because I've got 0, 1. Then I've got 1, 3. Then I've got 2, 5. And what's happened here? Right. This here, if I join this up, does it make a straight line? It doesn't, does it? And it looks like to me this point is incorrect. And I can see why it's incorrect because I have made a mistake here by not looking. That's a -3. So it's -2, -3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross that off. And I'm going to do -2, -3. And it's a really good example of when you make a mistake, what actually happens. Okay, so make sure you double check your answer. And then you have to try and line your ruler up. It's much easier on if you have paper. Right. And I'm going to label this as y equals 2x add 1. And there we are. We have plotted our straight line graph. Okay. Right. Let's have a look at another example then. This time, let's see if we can work out the coordinates without substituting. Y equals 4x minus, oops, let's get rid of that, 4x minus 6. So again, what you would do is you would draw your table of x and y. Okay, let's get rid of that and draw the x properly. Okay, I'm going to do -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, just look out for shortcuts. Some people look out for shortcuts. If you know them, why not use them? So the first one I'm going to do by substituting. To work out y, I've got to times my x by 4 and subtract 6. Well, -2 times 4 is -8. And if I subtract 6, I end up with -14. Now, look at the number in front of the x. It's a +4, isn't it? It's not a -4. It's a +4. So that means I'm going to add 4 to get onto the next number, which would be -10. I would add 4 to get onto the next number, which would be -6. Add 4 to get onto the next number, -2. And add 4 to get to the next number would be 2. Okay, so simple and straightforward. You can work out one of them by substituting and then use your knowledge of gradient and find out the next ones by either adding or subtracting. Let's write down the coordinates then. We've got -2, -14, -1, -10, 0, -6, 1, -2, and 2, 2. Okay, so let's plot this. -2, -14, I can't do that because it's not on the line. -1, -10, I can. 0, -6, I can. 1, -2, and 2, 2. Okay, so let's plot this. Slightly tricky with doing it on your tablet. Okay, and I'm going to write that as y equals 4x minus 6. Okay, and just a little bit of recap from what we did at the start. We did y equals mx plus c, didn't we? And I said the m stands for the gradient and the y stands for where the y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis. And look at this. My gradient of the line should be 4 and it should cross my y-axis at the number 6. -6, sorry, because that minus is attached to the 6. Yes, it crosses my y-axis at -6 and the gradient of my line is 4. So just a recap of how to work out the gradient. You find your 2 points, draw your triangle. The height difference is 1, 2, 3, 4. That difference there is 1. I do 4 divided by 1 to get 4 and my gradient is 4. Okay. Let's have a look at another question then. Let's have a look at y equals minus 2x plus 3. Okay, again, your x's and your y's. When it's a negative, I tend to stick to the positives, but let's do the negatives at this time, in case you want to do the negatives. Okay, so to work out y, I've got to times by x by minus 2, and then I've got to add 3 to it. Okay, well, my x is minus 2, so I've got to do minus 2 times minus 2, which is positive 4, add 3 to it to get 7. Right, what's the number in front of the x? The number in front of the x is minus 2, isn't it? So that means you're going to be subtracting 2 to get to the next one. So 7 subtract 2 is 5. 5 subtract 2 is 3. 3 subtract 2 is 1. And then 1 subtract 2 is minus 1. And we can check that. Let's just check this one here to make sure we've done that right. I've got to times my x by minus 2. So minus 2 times minus 1 is positive 2. Add 3 and we end up with 5. That is correct. Okay, so that's your quick way, your cheating way. I wouldn't say it's cheating, but it's like a shortcut way, as we could say, to work out the next few values. Write down your coordinates. So I've got minus 2, 7, minus 1, 5, 0, 3, 1, 1, and 2, minus 1. Make sure the x numbers are first and the y numbers are afterwards. So we've got minus 2, 7, minus 1, 5, 0, 3, 1, 1, and 2, minus 1. Okay, let's just plot that properly. Okay, draw your line. Now, look, the line's going the other way because it's negative gradient, and we'll just check that. Okay, label your line. It's y equals minus 2x plus 3. So remember, you had y equals mx plus c. That tells you, where it crosses your y-axis. Yes, it crosses my y-axis at the number 3. And this number here tells you the gradient. So you pick your 2 points. We've already got points picked for us. I'm going to do this one and this one. Draw your triangle. What's the height? The height there is 2. And then that there is 1. And we do 2 divided by 1 to get 2. But because the graph's going downwards, it's negative gradient. So it's going to be minus 2. Okay. And that was your lesson on straight line graphs. We've looked at drawing straight line graphs when given your equations to draw. We've looked at what y equals mx+c means. That's what the format of a straight line graph is. We've looked at substituting into a table to work out the coordinates. We've plotted the coordinates and then drawn our straight line. And then we've also checked with y equals mx+c that is our graph correct. Okay. So that was our lesson on straight line graphs. Thank you for watching.